welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about how I use volume profile to identify supply and demand zones. So first off, if you are not familiar with a supply and demand zone, the supply would be the seller's above price and demand would be the area where there would be interested buyers, right? So it's pretty simple. Gaps are caused by supply and demand imbalances, and they're one of the favorite things of supply and demand traders are gaps in price. As usually that, or as it does, that signifies a strong supply and demand imbalance, right? So just looking strictly at this chart, we can see that there was a gap here, right? You see this gap right here in price. And you can see it push up and look, right as it gets into this area, it sells back off again, $22 all the way down to $19, right? So a couple things with supply and demand, and especially with gaps or areas of supply or demand, is the first time that this area is touched generally is the best time to be entering that trade. The more times an area of supply or demand is touched, the less likely it is to hold. And a good analogy for that would be like chopping a tree down, right? So if, let's just say this was the area of supply, right? So that's our area, that box across, and we're chopping wood, right? So, and we take, an axe and we swing and we hit that tree once, and price continues to fall back down, right? But now we hit it again a second time, and now notice there are less sellers. You see how before it went from 23 down to 19? Well, now it just goes from 22 down to 20. See, that's still $3 and then $2. And now this time, this is the third time that technically it has pushed into this area, this gap, which was supply. And so now the odds that this area holds as supply are very low, right? So the odds that it breaks higher and tests this zone right here are pretty high. So how do you identify areas of supply and demand on a chart? Let's go to this chart here of Lithium Americas Corp. So we can see an area of supply right here. Now pay attention to this volume node in particular. Do you see how it protrudes out, how it is out much further than the rest of these? That's how I would determine that that's an area of supply. That is an area where there was a lot of volume and that there's going to be a lot of confluence. So these nodes, the highest node just means the areas where the highest volume was traded at that price, which means the most shares, going back and forth, either bought or sold. So that's what I'm looking for in price. I'm looking for those areas. And those areas generally have the largest moves by price, pushes away from that area, right? So here was a nice move from $25 all the way down to a low down here at 19, right? So let's pull up another example. Let's pull up SPY. So where would the area of supply be in this situation, right? So this is clearly an area where there was a lot of volume, right? So price may move through that area, but the area of supply that I would be looking at, there would be two. The first one would be this one. See this node right here? Quite simple. You just look for these protruding nodes. The next one, and do remember that it's not an exact science, right? So I have this zone. Let's say that I'm looking at this zone right here. I have this zone, but I might risk, up to here. I might risk $5. I might get long at 410 and risk $5, to make a move back, I don't know, down here to 390, right? So to make $20, which would be 4 to 1. Or maybe I risk a little less, I don't know. But the point is that this is not exact. It's never going to be an exact science. You're not going to name it exactly, but it's going to be close. You want all these factors to be in your favor. That is really the goal in trading, to have as many factors as humanly possible in your favor for that trade. Right, so let's go to another one, Amazon. And Amazon has a pretty noticeable supply zone. Now, if you ask yourself, where is this supply zone? Right? Where is the volume node protruding? Where is it sticking out? Pretty easy, right? Right there, right? And if you look closer at the chart, right? Look at price, look at the chart right here. Do you see this move from 122 down to 102, 103? See how quick that move was? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for places where price really rallied, whether it was up or down, very quickly. Those are going to be your strongest areas of supply and demand, right? So here, for example, the gap, there was a supply and demand imbalance up here at 144, so you get, boom, a drop down to 125. Now price is trying to find where the happy medium is. Where's the balance? Next, we can look at Nvidia, which, similar to Amazon, has supply above that is quite clear. Do you see how clear this volume node is? All right, it's pretty simple. That's very clear. And let's say you want to look even above that. Okay, that's fine. You can do that. Look, where would the next one be? The next one probably would be right here. And if you look, these are all areas, if we attach them to price, where price had big moves. See that move? Big move down in a short period of time. Another one. Big move down, short period of time. Right? And now let's look at ALB, another lithium company, and let's look at a daily chart. Right? So another thing to pay attention to is that there are going to be areas that are just basically full of confluence, a ton of buyers, a ton of sellers. You got bag holders, you got people wanting to get long, and you can see that. And so I'm highlighting an area right now, and if you'll see, look what price is doing. It's pretty much just bouncing back and forth through this area, right? And you can see that it did the same thing down here at 150, at 155, 160, and you can see price is doing the same thing again. And so those are what I call the middle. Those are not areas where I look to trade. I want to trade the outside edges. I want to trade down here. I want to trade down here, up here. There's a lot of chop back and forth when you're in the middle of those zones. So always do take that into consideration when looking at any ideas. And then if we wanted to, we can pull a 4-hour chart here, and this makes it more clear. Right, so we can see, boom, look at, you see how that, I was looking at the daily candles, and now look, you can see exactly what I mean. Do you see how this volume, now if you can't see it, let me take the purple off. See this node right here? That's your area of demand, right? So that is how I use volume profile to identify supply and demand zones. You can also see where majority of the holders are, like in this situation, ALB, a majority of the stake of the owners, the long-term holders, own this thing at, but sub $100, and that's now a $211 stock, so of course you're getting some profit taking, but that is how I trade supply and demand. If you guys have any other questions or comments or concerns, please share them down in the comments. Make sure, please like this video, please subscribe to this video, and let me know in the comments on any other future videos you'd like me to do. Peace.